Hi everyone, and thank you for watching my video. So my topic is the comparison between Gournay and Poulain and their views about the equality of men and women. So Marie Legars de Gournay presents a very clear-cut view of the division between men and women socially. And some of the examples that she used was Socrates referring to Diotima, who was a priestess and a teacher, but he revered her as a teacher, but at the same time used very unbecoming terms to refer to her. Um, Gournay also believed that citing a lot of well-known and revered philosophers would create a more valid argument. So some of the philosophers that she cited were Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and a lot of other well-known philosophers at that time because she believed that citing these philosophers would create an argument that no person could say that they didn't believe. And this is a quote directly from what she said, and I'll just quote the end of it. And the clever man will not say, even if he believes it, that worthiness and privilege in women falls short of that in men until he first has all these writers declare dumb brutes by decree to invalidate their testimony. And then also she noted Mary Magdalene and Judith as two religious figures who were just as righteous as men, but were not given the same reverence. So basically, Gournay, I believe, is using a lot of models of people to kind of demonstrate her point. She's using a lot of people who would not necessarily be denied by society at that time as being wrong. So next, getting into Poulain. So Poulain uses the criterion of truth, which is something that Descartes introduced, and it requires that you only base an opinion on proven ideas rather than based on personal opinions, which is something that he's using to basically build up his belief or build up the belief of the people who will be reading it at this time. So he chooses to discredit scholars and common people, which is the two group of people that he believes um, would believe these untrue narratives about women at this time. And so Poulin argues that men do not wish for women to hold positions of power because he believed that history has not created a space for women to hold these positions. Um, and that a lot of men at this time believed that if women were meant to hold positions at this time, that they just would have. That's simply how it would be if it was meant to be. And Puan explains how the use of customs in different countries, he says like Asia, Africa, how those customs have created a suppression of women in society. In war, how men typically were the war generals or were in charge of war at that time, and religious control, how women were excluded from being able to be in places where philosophers were, or um, a lot of people at that time during religious ceremonies. So my opinion is that there is true equality between men and women in terms of capability and thought and everything, but that is not reflected in society. And I feel like Poulin's argument was much more solid than Gournay because he established firm principles and causes for his claims. He was using a more broad scope to explain. It wasn't really like very specific on certain people because you could always say like Aristotle and Plato that their claims could be undercut by something else that they've said or something else that they're doing. It doesn't necessarily like correlate, while Poulin was using things that are seen in society that you can bring from that are well known and universal. And so an objection would be, would women be more likely to be in positions of power at that time if they were given the chance? So I would say that my response would be, if women were given the opportunity to gain the same education and opportunities as men to advance society, it would be their choice to accept, but they were not given that opportunity. So I feel that women would be in those positions of power if they were given the chances, but since they weren't, they were not in those positions of power. Some people could say that, well, they could be given the chance, but due to the qualities that people are trying to portray of women at that time. I don't know, like in war, people at that time would say, well, women are more meant to be in the house. They're more soft. They wouldn't want to be in war. Maybe, maybe not. But they were never given that chance to decline or to accept. Thank you.